I know you wish me well.
Well, no, I want to bully
banter.
you. I want to bully you.
A very quick disclaimer. At the time we recorded this episode, LinkedIn had removed its scrollable video feed, and it's just added it back in again. And it is terrible. All the more reason for you to get creating video so we can improve the feed for everyone. Welcome to Indie Business Club, the podcast for independent creatives, freelancers, founders, and business owners. I'm Mel Barfield, a copywriting consultant and event speaker. This podcast is a space to talk about the ups and downs of doing your own thing, and I'm here to start that bit again. Told you I would. I'm here to share tips and advice I've picked up along the way. My sound guy is Ant Henderson. This episode is called Video Games, and it's all about using video to promote your business. On the show, we'll discuss why you should finally get over yourself and get serious about using video. That's a note to self, by the way. How you've already got everything you need to get started. Why getting organised is half the battle. And we've got Jonny's top tips for planning, filming and editing your videos. And friend of the show, Will Slater, will share some wisdom from his bookshelf. So I hinted there who my guest is. It is Jonny Rose, and he runs the Story Club, where he helps B2B founders get confident on camera and turn that into consistent content that actually builds their businesses. This is Jonny's second time on the podcast, kind of, because he provided a very helpful voice note in episode 31. Jonny set my original co-host Ben some homework to record a video, and then Ben left the podcast. Now, I'm not saying for one moment that it was your homework that scared him off, Jonny, so that you could come and co-host with me, but here we are. How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm good, Mel. Thanks for asking. Is that something we should do to scare off your audience and just threaten at the end that we expect everyone listening to do a video by the end of the week?
Yeah, just switch off now if you're not going to do a video.
Although touching on what you said there, you said, speaking for myself about doing videos, we are a couple of years into me peer pressuring you, so maybe I'm just not that good at bullying people in the internet.
Hey, I'm on video quite regularly, but it isn't. It's more like a byproduct of recording this podcast rather than an intentional thing. So
counts. It does count. I don't want to be harsh on you.
I did mainly invite you for some serious accountability. So just really quickly, the name of this episode is Video Games, after the Lana Del Rey song. We name all the episodes after songs or albums or bands. Because I reckon if you make a game of creating videos and make it fun, you're way more likely to do it. Am I right? Am I right, Jonny? So it's not so painful?
Yeah, you've got me thinking now how I can turn all my video sessions into a game. Coming December 2026, the Story Club video game strategy set. I see Catan in the back of yours, so you're ready for it. It'll be Catan-esque.
Well, I've got Catan and Catan expansion pack, so I'm a serious Catan player. I've got the expansion pack and everything. But it is, you get more out of people if they're a bit relaxed and having fun. We talked before we started recording about how one of the things you do is try and just have a bit of a conversation with people at the start of shoots and have a bit of banter and a bit of a chat and not make it feel like you're kind of going, right, switch on your professional persona right now. Like you want to see people and capture them in their raw kind of natural state, don't you?
Sure. I always try and avoid the survivor bias thing of saying my way's the right way, because I'm sure those exercises like do, re, mi, fa, sol, all that sort of thing, I find that a bit cheesy and it's not really for me. But yeah, when I sit down with somebody, if we're doing a full shoot day, without telling them, the cameras will be running, but I just sit off camera to them and I'm like, listen, we just did this warm-up bit, tell me, and then ask them questions, prompts about the business. And because they don't think the cameras are on, they're more relaxed naturally, but then they also warm up and we can just get into it. So yeah, it's about the right person, making them feel comfortable. It's about like the right surroundings, the right settings, the right amount of prep. All that leads up to maybe not gamified enough yet, but that bringing your best self to what is a fairly stressful situation.
Okay. This podcast is for founders and freelancers, so a lot of the people listening will be looking at video as a solo venture that something they need to do themselves. And I always find the danger of that is because there's no one there with you, you can just go, oh, that one's I don't like that one. Delete, start again, delete, start again, delete, start again. And you can end up in this kind of loop of like, if it's not perfect, of just ending up going, well, I'm not going to do it then. I just can't get it right. How do you help people to overcome that kind of perfectionist thing of like, if I stumble over my words, then I can't possibly post this because I won't look professional.
So there's three ways. One and two is what I'll recommend for freelancers, founders, anyone who's just working alone. The third would be to get somebody who just takes off your hands, obviously. One and two is basically freelancers, founders usually have a network of people in similar situations, right? And you and I know people who maybe they're using content to promote themselves, their business, but they've not quite made the jump to video. The examples you gave, maybe they filmed themselves, deleted it, talked themselves out of it. My recommendation would be find a peer, a friend, another founder who wants to get on camera and hold each other accountable. Because everyone has people in their lives that's like, right, we're doing a video this week, so we both post on Wednesday at this time, and you get that support network, which is the accountability, which is 50% of my job. Or number two, just because it is easy for two people to be like, oh yeah, we'll do our videos, no, next week, and between the two of them, kick it down the road. You send 100, 200, 300 pounds to somebody, and if you don't post your 4 videos, let's say you want to post a video a week, if you don't post your videos that month, you don't get the money back, and the person has to send it to a charity of your choice or something. Because I know somebody did that for the gym. Every session they didn't go to, they had to send their friend got to keep £25.
Like an extreme version of a swear jar, kind of to try and correct your behaviour through some pain.
It's the carrot and the stick, right? So, and the problem with the carrot is it could be a bit of a way off. The rewards and results from videos can take a bit of time to get there. So if somebody is in a good habit for 5, 6, 7 weeks, but they're not immediately seeing ROI, they might just give up. Whereas the stick of losing 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 a month, depending on how you set it up, could be enough to inspire you. Like, oh, I can't be bothered filming my videos for the month. Tough. You're going to lose money if you don't do it. That's a good way. So if you want to be gentler to yourself, have an accountability buddy. If you really want to do video and you don't want anything to stop you, give yourself that financial pain.
Yeah, that would. I think the problem I have quite often is I will, especially if I go to an event, I'll film loads of stuff, and it's then doing something with it. So it's not the recording part that I've got a problem with. It's the editing, putting the captions on, which as we know is really important, not just for accessibility, but for the silent scrollers who are sitting on the toilet watching videos and want to just read what the captions say and don't want to turn the sound on necessarily. It's all those steps after filming for me that I end up with this graveyard of content, and it'll then be out of date because I've had a haircut or because the event that I was filming at, it was now a month ago, and oh well, that's kind of dead video now, no use for that. And so I think for me the problem is not in the recording part, it's again the accountability buddy helps with all elements of this. It's not just the filming but actually the follow through of editing it, putting your little logo on if you want to do all that kind of stuff, and that actually posting it.
Well, you know I relate, Mel, because I've got a great video of Automicon last year with you waving at me in the audience that I haven't edited together, so I do understand. I think when it comes to editing, especially for busy founders, solopreneurs, and people with budgets, you do get better tools these days. There's tools called like Descript and Opus where you can edit the video through text, so you can delete words, remove pauses, all that sort of thing, and they automatically add subtitles, and you can just run through and spell check. So that's a much quicker process.
Well, we're recording on Riverside, and they've got the similar thing of where you delete from the transcript. You delete the words, and it cuts the video in the same way as whatever you delete.
And you can do it. It's
very handy.
Small learning curve. Probably takes 2 to 3 hours, if that. And anyone could just edit videos and start getting the first videos out there using those kind of tools. I think people tell themselves the story of, oh, I need it to be this quality or this level to do it, whereas there's plenty of people putting out videos like that gets them results, adds value to their audience, all those sort of things. And even then, for super busy people, maybe putting a half day or a day aside, either an Upwork, find a quality editor who doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Maybe it's £15 an hour, maybe it's £20 an hour. And if you just want one video out a week as a starting point, rather than 0 a year, you could probably get someone who'd edit your videos, and you could maybe 30 quid per video. So then you've got all the footage, and just someone else deals with it. And let's say it's 30 quid a video, then it's like 120 a month. Like, if people really want to get videos out there, there is ways to do it. It's just deciding what matters more, the money, the time, or not doing videos at all.
I liked what you're saying about like a couple of crappy-ish videos is better than none. Is there? We talked before recording. We started talking about authenticity versus realness, and is there something to be said for leaving in the little stuttering over words, or leaving in a bit of the realness and making it a little bit raw? Is that because I see online that people are saying that that's something that's a benefit these days because of AI? Is the era of super glossy, overproduced video over, and can we just film ourselves in our pajamas and just be a bit slobby and slack about it? Please, Johnny.
Going for the classic answer, it depends, right?
It
Because
depends.
how long is it till AI is going to start putting in fake word jars and stuff to try and fake being real, right? So that's, unfortunately, that's not going to be a cut. It's the same way you can see on written posts on LinkedIn, for example. Clearly AI written posts, but someone will chuck in a couple of intentional spelling errors or put a word wrong. Totally, but it's like it's faking that
I'd
authenticity.
like it on record that all of my spelling errors and grammatical inaccuracies are entirely my own, and I'm proud of not knowing. I probably shouldn't be proud of not knowing how grammar and punctuation works. But
I feel like if you went through any of my posts, they all say edited because I've just posted it, and then after I've been like, whoops, that's wrong. So I cover it up, but anyone who wanted to dive deep enough could be like, did this guy go to school? But sorry, what were you saying there? We were talking about the realness
on
and like
authenticity,
and
high quality, is a rough and ready and raw and rough around the edges kind of video, is that actually a benefit now for people if they're building their personal brand, especially?
So the whole thing is, it depends, right? Like, I do all types of videos. I do from my mobile, I do the high quality because they've all got different purposes. If you're looking to build a community and trust and authenticity, sure, like those off the cuff mobile, like a lot of those are planned strategically as well. Like, people just have
Going for a walk
prepared
in a field, but they've got a script.
Yeah, or they might have had the script written and prepared for what they want to talk about. It just looks off the cuff, right? More real authenticity, right? But the high quality videos still have their job, right? If you're trying to work with an enterprise business and there's 2, 3, 4 decision makers, if the marketing director sees a nice video of you on LinkedIn, that you've just filmed on your mobile and stuff, they'll be like, I like what this person's saying. But if they take that to like the CEO, they're like, oh, this person's like good, we should work with them. CEO's going to be like, really? That doesn't, like, that kind of content doesn't represent us and the message that we're trying to get across. So companies like that will want more polished. So on social, if you're trying to build connection with individuals, yes, that more real rawness is good. But if you're trying to do business with people with big budgets, why do you think you still see all these creators who are raw and authentic still do high quality videos?
Such a good point I
platforms?
hadn't thought of. I love that.
Because if you go on like their stories, Instagram stories are a place for that one-to-one connection that can be raw and in your pajamas. But what they're posting on their website or through their lead funnels, that's high quality in a studio or even in YouTube, right? You get a lot of people who don't really have raw and real studios. Sure, there's some, but some like the big creators or big businesses still have a polished looking backdrop because people buy into that. It adds authority. So anyone who tells you only do high quality videos is obviously trying to sell you something. Anyone who says just be raw and authentic is probably trying to sell you something. Anyone who tells you there's a middle ground, test and see what your audience react to and what actually gets the results you want, is probably someone to like trust a bit more.
But they also might be selling you something, but that's okay.
Yeah, they might be selling you the full package.
You mentioned about scripting. I've got a little note here to ask you to script or not to script, and I know what your answer is, and it's different to what mine is. But do you want to talk a little bit about scripting and how to go about it if you think it's a good idea, which I know you do. Scripts, Johnny. Talk scripts to me.
Well, it ties nicely into what we were just talking about. Like, it depends, the word everyone hates to hear, but it's because I hate people who are so black and white about things. Sometimes if you're at an event and you've just heard a great talk and you're trying to get more into video content, you jump on the phone and you just talk, right? Like it could end up a bit waffly, but it's that more real raw thing. That has a place, like immediacy, recency. Whereas, I mean, if you're doing a 5, 6, 7+ minute YouTube video, you want a script. You don't want to be waffling, especially if you're editing your own videos. You don't want to have to go through this whole thing you have to cut through. And like I'm a big I always vouch for a teleprompter because like learning to speak off the cuff, like learning to speak from bullet points, all of these are trained skills. The more you do that one thing, the better you get at it. I'm pretty sure most people couldn't tell between when I've done a teleprompter video or a bullet point video because
I'm going to be watching your eyes now.
Yeah, well, now you will, yeah. But that's the thing. It just becomes like more natural, and you learn to do it. And if you've given yourself a 5 minute video to do and a bunch of bullet points, you're gonna do 2, 3, 4. You're gonna fluff them. You're gonna waff them, and you're gonna get very frustrated and annoyed at yourself, and then you're gonna stop. Whereas with a teleprompter, you do it once, maybe it's a bit raw. 2, by the time you've done it 3, 4 times, you're reading it and it gives you that natural sort of thing. And then obviously bullet point videos. Some people prefer them. They don't really work for me personally. If I've got bullet points of things I need to cover, I can end up being too waffly. But sometimes with scripts as well, you don't need a teleprompter. You could just, let's say that I'm talking to camera now, you could have the script on your phone. I could read line number 1, how am I doing? Line number 1, how am I doing? Line 2, this is a big deal. Line number 2, this is a big deal.
And that's where you do your little zooming ins, your little cuts.
Yeah, and so you do the jump cuts. So again, it's when I go and I shoot with somebody, I usually break the day into 3. So the first third is podcast style because they get to talk to another human. They don't have to look down the lens of the camera, and I'm just asking them questions about what they do, right? And so I give them the questions beforehand, not so that they think of set answers, but just their brain can be ready for what we're trying to discuss. Then the second half of the day is with the lines. So like I feed them lines and they say it back. And then the third of the day is like the teleprompter. And usually what that does is, one, it gives us a variety of content to see what their audience resonates with more, because over 3 months of that kind of content.
A/B testing.
Exactly. And but also it allows us to A/B test, well, ABC, since it's 3, test how they do in the day. They might be better with just me asking them, and they might be terrible at the other 2.
They might sit like a robot going right off the teleprompter.
So it allows us to figure out what is best for them, and that is what it comes down to. Everyone's different, and the people who say their way's the right way, again, I'm not really for it. You have to find out what works for you.
I'm really stuck on, in a good way, what you were saying earlier about the decision making, within the business or wherever you're pitching your services to, and actually being really aware of what the client journey will be through the ranks. So I hadn't thought about the fact that I'm just really this podcast is all just me exposing myself as not knowing anything about marketing, but it's okay, I own that. The fact that the person, and you're so right, this happens with us as well at Copy or Die, and when I've had freelance projects, the person who initially connects with you on an emotional level, or wants to work with you because they've seen all your stuff, they are then often having to pitch it to a board or their manager or whoever the budget holder is. And I love the idea of having that separate content in mind, so you're not just thinking of your client as one person, but thinking of all the different people within that company that are going to have to sign off on whatever work it is that you do. So yeah, that's got me pondering because I'm all for unpolished, as you know, because I think I feel like I'm a bit of an imposter if I try and be too, not professional, that's the wrong word, but too glossy and too overly produced. And I'm absolutely in my comfort zone, riffing stuff off the cuff and being a bit rough around the edges.
But I guess like one nice polished video on your website, on the homepage, if, let's say, the chain of command goes, a marketing director sees your video, they chat to you in the DMs, and they then go to the CEO or whoever is above them. what they're going to do is they're going to send your webpage, and a breakdown of who you are is going to be like, go check out Mel, go check out Copy or Die, look at these guys, and then you still get the benefit of that video because they see the high quality one, and they're like, oh right, so like this
They're
adds
serious.
extra
They're
authority.
serious.
Yeah, totally. Because perception, as much as we want to live in this world of sharing cute dog pictures on like LinkedIn builds personal relationships, at the end of the day, like people still want to feel like they're working with serious business owners.
Yeah.
And being a serious business owner doesn't have to mean you're like a serious boring person, but it just means you look trustworthy and like you're allowed to swear in this podcast, you know your shit.
I think with the kind of high editing quality and that kind of thing, it also shows that you are someone that invests in your business. So if it looks like even if you've done it yourself, if it looks like you've had a professional editor in, and you've got a good camera and you've got great lighting and all that kind of stuff, it just shows that you are someone that takes things seriously, and you're not just kind of winging it. You're not just trying to run a business out of the boot of your car.
Yeah.
So yeah,
if you care enough about your own business, probably subconsciously adds this layer of like, they'll care about mine.
Yeah, that attention to detail thing again. But what percentage of? I know that the answer will be it depends.
I'll try not to keep doing that because it's a bad habit of mine, and apparently you're meant to say things with total conviction. I mean,
I trust you more because you don't go, you definitely have to do this.
Yeah.
And I think it depends is a legit answer for a lot of the stuff that I talk about on this podcast. But what percentage ish of somebody's content plan should be video? Like, where should it sit within all the other stuff that people are putting out there on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever?
Okay,
does it depend, Johnny? Does it depend?
Well, that helps that you actually gave like areas to focus in on, right? Because Instagram now, I mean, they brought in the reel feeds to take off TikTok and all that. Like, video is huge on those platforms now. Like, they've gone all in on video, and they're rewarding it. Maybe not necessarily to everyone, but they've gone very video first platforms. LinkedIn did a post about it yesterday. I do think LinkedIn's still it knows we're moving into very video heavy, potentially video first world. They've got actually a lot of really interesting research papers talking about trust as a new KPI and how video is the main driver for that. But how it works on LinkedIn is they tried almost a TikTokification of the platform. They brought in a video feed specifically last year. Lasted all of about 2-3 months because what happened was what you see across platforms. People post the same video to TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts. And that was happening to LinkedIn, and they smartly decided they didn't want to go that way. But that's meant videos in a bit of a flux for them. So what I say for video on LinkedIn is it's part of a strategy and it's part of a content strategy, but it shouldn't be the full strategy. My own cadence is 2 videos, 3 written posts a week. But it's about, everyone just thinks of video for middle of the funnel and dropping education bombs, right? But it's the trust it gives you, it's the shortening of sales cycles, and genuinely, one of the best things you can do with video on LinkedIn is send video DMs. Like, if I'm sending somebody a message,
personalized
get
ones.
up your phone, totally, because they know you've put in the effort, all the automation going on. So it's more like LinkedIn video has to be a bit more strategic, has to be part of a larger content plan, and also like definitely use it in DMs. And then if I'm viewing LinkedIn a lot more of top of funnel these days. So we were chatting earlier how I'm building a middle of funnel. I'll be using videos to drive traffic to a landing page which has video, which then converts and people get email videos. So it's also thinking how you can use video across your entire marketing sales funnel.
Yeah, this is where
I didn't give a good percentage there, sorry. But on Instagram, I would say 100%. On LinkedIn, I would say 30 to 40%.
Just again, exposing myself as not being a proper marketer. I have always approached LinkedIn without much of a strategy and without much of a plan, and I think that's why I quite rarely post video, because it needs to become a habit for me. It needs to become something that, and I liked what you said earlier about setting aside half a day or a day a month or half a day a week or whatever, actually having that ring fenced time to do it. I think I'm coming to the realization that unless time is ring fenced for me, it just doesn't happen. Can you tell me a little bit though, especially from a freelancer kind of point of view, because you mentioned about how video builds trust. I absolutely agree with that. I think it brings somebody to life in a way that no amount of photos can do. You see how their face moves, you see their teeth, you see them talking, you hear, you can connect them as in your brain to that, whatever that, LinkedIn profile picture is, as a real human being, and it brings people to life. So I'm all for it. But can you go into a little bit of detail about the different types of video that freelancers in particular should be putting out? I mean, you've got explainer videos, intro videos, event reviews. Like, what are the kinds of things that you think are especially useful for freelancers to do in terms of video?
That's really funny you mentioned that, Mel, because I don't think we've spoken about this. I started a series with another video guy who I met on LinkedIn, Arthur Jones, runs Maskew Media, and we've started a bi-weekly LinkedIn live series called Content Reviews. So we're actually review specific kinds of content and where they fit, and we rate them at the end. So we did podcasts 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago, and last week we did explainer videos, which I was just pretty negative about the whole time. So honestly, as a starting point, talking head, because the 3Cs, I'm not going to keep saying we spoke about earlier. If people start speaking to camera and on video around their messaging, their positioning, their services, objection handling, like promises, proof, all that, you get confidence around how you're saying it and what you're saying. You get clarity, so you refine it. The more you do it, the less you waffle. And then like conviction in saying, right? So with talking head, you don't need heavy equipment, right? And you don't need heavy editors. It is just.
And by talking head, you're literally like
what we're doing
like
now
our heads
is,
are now. What we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Just
yeah. So it'd be me
your
just
head
talking
in a
about,
little box speaking.
Totally. And I think it is what I used to say, and I still believe, is podcast is the perfect place to start video. It's how I started. It's how you've started.
We're doing it now.
We're doing it now, exactly. And so then the next stage would be like talking heads, when it's you having conversation with the camera and you're sharing your insights. If you're then moving on to things like explainer videos, case studies, you've got that's a much bigger leap. Explainer videos have to be more engaging with more graphics, which requires more money, or if you want to edit yourself, more time. Case studies, you've got to nail down your clients, unless you're doing like a podcast, like a Zoom call like this, and you ask them questions. Everyone should be doing that to get their case studies. But if you want those more high polished ones, you've got to organize studio, ideally a time they can all come in. Talking head has the lowest barrier to entry, and in our world it maybe feels like we see them all the time. But I'd really ask people to look at their industry specifically and see how many people are actually doing them and doing them well. And you can cover every topic. You can, if you have an amazing research piece or an amazing lead magnet, you can do a bottom of funnel video where you're talking through the key points and you give people a link to download it. Middle funnel, obviously you can talk about how you perceive problems, how you solve problems, like objection handle. And if someone sees 3 or 4 of your objection handling videos before they work with you, they're usually about 50, 60, 70% sold, which is one of the big things about videos. You're trying to make your sales cycle easier. Or top of funnel. I love a rant. I'm on my soapbox right now.
Haven't noticed that.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like a top of funnel video where you say something you really don't like that's going on in the industry. And that's when you can choose an enemy. Like I'm pretty heavy hating on AI generated clones for many reasons. So like a video of me ranting about that, some people will watch that and be like, he's right, I hate them as well. And that gets them inside, and the passion really would have come across on video. So that's where people should start. 1, for simplicity, 2, just because they can cover all bases.
And you mentioned earlier about having accountability buddies and actually doing that sort of talking head video. You could set up a Riverside or a Zoom call with someone else and not necessarily do the fake podcast thing where you pretend they've just asked you a question, but just being on a call with someone else. They mute themselves, you read out your thing. There's something about having someone else there that I think makes you a bit more dynamic than if you're just kind of static on your own in a room trying to speak to camera, as long as it's someone that you trust and you don't mind fluffing your lines and then restarting with. Yeah, that's something that I definitely recommend to people. I've done that with people as well before, to help them get over the feeling of not wanting to record themselves.
I use my DJI Osmo as a webcam, but you could get, if you've got a nice DSLR or whatever, like mirrorless kind of camera, you've got easy camera links now. You can just plug in, and you can actually have that quality. So
I need to do that. I've got a good camera and I'm using a webcam. What a waste.
I'll send you the cam link to get from mail, because it's an easy setup, and you can now get teleprompters that would have that camera, and you can plug in a spare screen so it reflects. So it's like you're looking at the screen and you can see the people. So you can have a conversation where you're looking directly down the lens, and for webinars or for your own content. So that interview style thing you're talking about, people would have no clue that someone's on the other end prompting you, asking interview style questions. And if somebody did an hour session with a friend with that, you're getting at least 7 or 8 really good videos that can set you up.
And let's talk really quickly about what you then do with the videos, because a piece of video content can be repurposed in lots of other ways as well. So do you want to just cover some of those ways to kind of make the most of that investment of time and overcoming the to make it into different types of content as well as just video?
Yeah, because when everyone talks about videos now, it's about the social platforms, right? It's about posting it on LinkedIn, posting it on Instagram, posting it across those platforms. Whereas what I always say to people is I like to put videos to work. So a term that's used a lot is evergreen. So evergreen means it's always relevant. It's always on point. So if you're talking about a certain copywriting style, or if I'm talking about certain talking heads, if I did a video talking about the value of talking heads, or I just take the clip from what we did there, what I'm saying is probably timeless. I could post it now, I could post it in 3 months, I could post it in 6 months. So one, it's knowing that you should post videos every 6 months, because if you're building a new audience anyway, no one's ever really seeing it.
Just don't have extreme haircuts. That's the trick. Just keep your hair reasonably steady.
Or keep it extreme. You need some distinctiveness to stand out, right? But and also the reason.
No, sorry, I meant between the two, like, because I used to have longer hair. So anytime I see videos of me with my long hair, it just looks so not like me now. So please do have punky and extreme haircuts, but just keep those punky and extreme haircuts for the entire year.
Yeah, although you're maybe going to hate this, but I've got videos that were.
Did you have long hair? Have you had?
No,
hair?
Sadly, I can't risk it these days. My brother's got a ponytail though. But the whole, so imagine like me slightly taller with a ponytail. But the whole thing with that is, especially if you're posting somewhere like LinkedIn, people aren't that precious. So I've got videos from 2 years ago that have my old font, a bit more like of an intense editing style, but I still posted it because people don't, unless you're like a huge brand with really strict guidelines, nobody notices. Nobody's going to come in and be like, hey, that's a weird, I don't see that color in your videos anymore.
Mel's got different glasses. Yeah, no, nobody's paying that close attention.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say like stuff like that, I'd probably be less precious on. But also the reason when I do shoot days with people, we cover objections quite heavily, is because what that gives you is a bank library of content. So if you're in the DMs or if you're emailing somebody and they're asking questions, what's better than just being like, blah, 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 we do this? You just say, hey, funnily enough, I actually did a video on this. Here's the post if you want to check it out. Then you're driving them to your page, and if you've got like worthwhile engagement or you're giving good points in the comments, they can see that. But also, they're spending time with you rather than you writing down. They're watching a video of you explaining it, and that gives that trust a bit more. It gives that, like, if it's copywriting, if you're the copywriter they've seen and heard from, then you're the one they're more likely to trust. Yeah. And also then all those kind of videos you can put on frequently asked questions pages on your websites. If you send out an email list, anytime you post a video, put it in your email list. Be like, oh, for anyone who's been wondering X, here's a wee short explainer video. Like, blast everywhere. There's no point to just, and 90% of people do this. They post once and that's it.
And would you
And
then
that's just such a waste.
do cross media as well? So you'd pull out the transcript and use it as a blog if it's particularly long, turn it into a carousel. And if you're going to do that, do you then post all the different types of media in fairly quick succession, or do you spread that? Like, how do you advise your clients to kind of manage that content strategy?
Well, so historically, what a lot of clients have had is the blogs and the written posts. So that's actually been easy to convert with video. But yeah, in a preferred world,
oh, so you've done it that way round of like they've already got a blog.
Because
let's let's
yeah.
edit it into a script, and then you can.
Yeah, and then obviously they can put that video underneath the blog. So for people who'd rather watch it and stuff. But for people, I know people who run like they do the long form video, then they break that down into shorts, and they turn that into a blog and 4 LinkedIn posts and all that. And if somebody can do that well, then 100% do it. If you're just going for volume, because some people just do it for volume and it's noise, right? They just plaster it half-heartedly and everything, and it just becomes like little meaningless bits. But that one video could be an asset that converts into really amazing LinkedIn posts and stuff, but you just have to spend the time to do that right. So if you've got the ability to make one long video, 4 really good shorts, 6 really good posts, 2 really good emails, then 100%. But not a lot of people have the capability, time, or know-how to do all things well. And then a lot of the time, that's been the strategy for a while. But that's why we're just getting a lot of like average content and noise now.
Average content is my absolute pet peeve, especially on LinkedIn. I think AI's made it even worse. It was already bad, the average content problem, where people try and just stay within a very kind of mediocre, not being too loud, not being too quiet, kind of middle ground. And now it's
or even templates, right?
Yeah, horrible. Just to touch on the point we were talking about earlier about scripts and the thing you just said about repurposing video content to be blogs and vice versa. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between something that reads well in people's heads and something that can be read well out loud? Because you do need to edit, say, a blog post. It needs to be edited to be suitable as a script. So what are the changes that you would make if you were supporting someone to do that?
Yeah, so I don't know too much on writing blogs, but when it comes to the script, let's say you've got a blog. Give me a theme mail. Give me a copywriting blog.
Oh, what about copywriting, or what if it's just like a 5 ways to make sure that your brand voice stands out? There you go. Now you're going to ask me what the 5 ways are, and I can't think off the top of my head.
In a video these days, or like any content these days, one, I mean, you need the hook, and 5 ways to make your brand voice stand out could actually be enough of a hook, to be honest. So you've covered that area. That's to get attention. Anyone who wants to know how to make their brand voice stand out, they're immediately going to hear that in the first 3-4 seconds of the video and get them. Then in the body side of things, you made that quite easy. That's a listicle. So you just list off the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Nowadays, just because someone once said, and I really like it, it's like we're no longer in the knowledge era, we're in the experience era. So it's because anyone could type in ChatGPT 5 ideas, like 5 ways to make your voice stand out, right? And then it's like, no, give me 5 more, and you could just get an endless list. But what I would do in that case is, whilst ChatGPT is fine for the ideation, one, you've got to make sure...
Debatable, but go on.
Well, debatable. But it's like, you've got to make sure, one, they're all relevant to you, right? So if it's on your blog site, it's obviously things you think. You've got to tie in stories. You know, we saw number 2, we did this for a client, and we did that. I'm not saying all 5 have to have a story, but at least 2 or 4 have to have something key from your own experience, because the listicles just no longer matter. I know this is less about scripts and more about like
but this is really, but that's really really good point about like it's doing a video on stuff that anyone can look up isn't gonna get you the level of kind of authority and respect for your craft, that it would if you have those examples of actually, like almost micro case studies. You mentioned case studies earlier as a
So what I would do now, instead of here's 5 ways to do X, I would actually make them all individual videos now. So if you've got a blog and you're listing out 5 things, that could be 5 videos. Because then, let's say, give me one example of like how to make a brand voice stand out.
Well, when we're looking at brand voice, one thing that a lot of people don't do is any kind of implementation training. So they'll create a tone of voice guide, and they won't necessarily then teach the people in the business how to actually write that way. So one of the things we do at Copy or Die is a full day workshop of exactly how to speak in each different element of the voice, and with examples and training. So that's that's probably one thing that gets missed off by lots of other people.
So that's how I would script a video now. Moving away from like that 5 list, it's the hook for that video.
It's the one thing that people don't do. I do.
No.
Makes me feel a bit gross though. Those kind of.
Well, I guess if you're talking to people more strategically, right? It's like here's how to implement your brand voice through your business. Like that's it, and it's like at Copy and Die we worked with X, and after 1 month we noticed the brand voice wasn't being used, right? So you've already mentioned a business you've worked with, you've already mentioned your guys what you've done, and then you just tell people the body is here's how we did this and how we'd recommend it, and then you end with, if you want to make it a bottom of funnel video, you're like, to read our blog on this, you give a link to that, and then you lead the way. So for anyone listening who doesn't know, what we've just spoken about is like the hook, the body, how we change that body to something more relevant because you're telling experience, and then the CTA is the end, which people would call a call to action. Not every video has to have a call to action. It could be something to inspire conversation, like, will you be implementing this in your business, or do you have any questions about just things you're not certain of and we can answer in another video, which again gives you more video ideas. Or the bottom of funnel idea would be like, download our white paper, our blog on how to do the step-by-steps in your business, or even better, want help implementing it in your business, get in touch with Mel for...
Don't ring me though. I was just doing a little phone gesture, and then remembered that no, I don't want people to ring me ever.
Yeah,
Email
you don't
me.
give your number away, so I'm honoured.
No,
But so the quick
honoured.
thing would be like, with videos, hook still matters. People have short attention spans. You need to grab them in. It doesn't need to be like a false promise or anything, but like making it clear what the video is going to be about and delivering on that promise is huge, because lots of hooks pull people in and then people don't actually get the value they were told from the video. So then what they will do is they'll mute your videos, they'll skip past. Exactly. And once the trust is gone, you're rarely getting it back. The body, why people should trust you. So the authority, whether it's saying we've ran 20 implementation workshops, or we worked with this brand, which is a big recognizable name, explaining your process, how you do it and what makes you unique. And then the CTA, if you're trying to get more business, if you just want to humble brag about how good you guys did,
Always.
that kind of thing. Yeah, me too. But yeah, that's how I would view it now. How can you tie in experience is the key thing.
That is so valuable. Thank you. Jonny, just lastly, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you insist that the listeners must know or do in terms of video?
Oh, it's the classic of the best time to start was last year, the second best time is now. Thing on the platforms, I'm sure a lot of people feel disheartened, or they're too late, or they're this and that. But in the last month, or 2 months, or 3 months, 6 months, we see new businesses, new creators, whoever, getting recognized all the time, coming to the forefront, being the new thing. In our bubbles of spending time on platforms, we probably see a lot of people doing it. I think a lot of people, we mentioned it already in the podcast, look at your industry and be like, one, how many people are actually doing it? And two, what am I really up against? And three, if you're looking to stand out and build trust, video is still, like, all the data, it's only increasing, but that's not a reason to not do it. If it's increasing, it's because it's working. And if you're saying too many people are doing it, you are going to miss out. So start today, grab your mobile, grab your webcam. I hear Mel's going to be running 5 free sessions over the next 5 weeks and recording people and interviewing them. Follow the advice of like, get an accountability buddy, just get someone to jump on a web call with you and ask you questions, and just try and get that first video out there.
Do it. Just do it.
Yeah, try not
Get
to
on
go
with
all
it.
Nike on you, but things will always be busy. Just put a couple of hours aside to get your first video out and tear off the plaster.
Jonny will give you a little gold star if you do. Thank you so much for your time today. Jonny is on LinkedIn. You can find him there. It's Jonny with no H, and his surname is Rose. Jonny Rose, like the character from Schitt's Creek. I'm sure many people have pointed that out to you over and over again.
My brother's name is David Rose as well, so it happens.
Perfect. And that'll do for today. If you're listening on your mobile, please whip it out and give me 5 stars wherever you're listening. But also maybe like film a video testimonial about how much you love the podcast. Jonny, you should have given people that as their homework. That should be the first thing that everyone does.
I didn't want to take away from you. That's great inspiration.
And you can tap the bell icon on Spotify or wherever to get notified of each episode. Thank you for listening. I'm Mel Barfield, and the show is produced by Sound Guy and Sound Guy, Ant Henderson, who also composed my theme tune. Get videoing. I'll see you next time. Bye. Jonny, say bye.
Bye.